Welcome to Kawartha Pine Ridge District School Board Blended Learning Tutorial. This tutorial is for teachers to help them access the materials to support students with the Ontario Secondary School Literacy Test. What we have done is we have loaded content from the OSSLT, from the EQAO website to our learning management system. Our learning management system that we use is Brightspace, also referred to as D2L. In order to access this, when students log in to the school board computers, they have an icon on the top right hand side. It says D2L. You simply click on. And students' usernames are all defaulted to the same username that they use to log into any of the computers at our school. So I'm going to log in today as a student. And by default, we have set all of the passwords for students who have never logged onto the system to e-learning. If you have any issues whatsoever with logins or passwords, just feel free to contact me at the board office at extension 2384 and I can reset that for you quite quickly. So when a student logs in, the first thing that they will see is the home page. So the home page is basically the shell of the online classroom. So this shows you, think about it as the school. So within the school you will have any of the classes or courses that the student is currently registered in. So for this student, we see that they have a Master Non-course, which is an e-learning orientation course. Every single student within KPR has access to this, and teachers also have access to an e-learning orientation that is designed specifically for teachers. Under School, you will see the OSSLT practice course, so we're going to click onto that. And that will take you to the course for the OSSLT for that particular school. In this case, we are using a student from CDCI West. So there are some specific instructions, and I think it's important when you're working with students to always talk to them about the importance of reading instructions carefully, particularly for the literacy test, but also with things in life as well. So this tells the student that to complete the full test, they can either do the full test or they can do multiple choice questions, sorry. To get started, they click on the quizzes link at the top of the page, and then they are to wait for directions. So the best way this works is if it is interactive with the teacher giving the student some feedback. So as the student, I'm going to click on quizzes, and we'll see that there's a number of different options here. We have full practice tests, part 1 and part 2, and then we have a couple of other options where we're only providing the multiple choice. When a student logs on, they will also see whether or not they have already done an attempt on that particular section or booklet, and whether or not they have an attempt in progress. So that may mean that they haven't finished that booklet yet. So in this instance, I'm going to go in. Let's start with the first booklet. Again, it's an unlimited time. It does keep track of how many attempts the student has made, and we always recommend that students save their responses for each question as they work through the quiz. So we're going to start the quiz. Now this particular one has sections of reading and multiple choice. So again, the student would read, go through and do the reading. They could click on whatever they felt was the right response. I am guessing, by the way. Go through. So you'll see that there's 16 multiple choice. There's 16 pages in this booklet. Again, if I decide to skip past it, there's a spot here for a written answer. So should city officials in Rome be worried or pleased about the fad of putting locks on the lamppost? Explain your answer using details from the section with your own ideas. So here a student can then input their information, and the teacher will have the opportunity to go through and to score it. So the system will mark the multiple choice questions, but it will not mark the written answers. Okay, so say then as a student the bell rang, or I didn't have any time to finish it, I could click go to submit. Save all responses, submit the quiz, and it will also tell me again how many questions I haven't answered and whether or not I want to go ahead and submit or whether I want to save it and go back to it later. So that's essentially what the course materials look like for a student. So let's take a minute and see what it looks like for a teacher. So teacher logins, again, if you haven't been logged into Brightspace before, your username is going to be the same as it is when you log into the system. Your default password will be e-learning. So again, as a teacher, I'm going to see any courses that I'm enrolled in. My screen looks a tiny bit different than yours might. I'm going to pull up this OSSLT course. So again, when teachers log on, they'll have access to this. And again, the instructions are really important. Okay, so we're asking teachers that when they click on the quizzes link above, just to click on the names and not to edit the properties of those quizzes. So here I can see everything that the student sees. Actually, let's go back one second. Let me show you some more of the materials. The other thing that the teacher has access to, you'll notice that the students had the Kurzweil files and the pretest slideshow. The teachers also have the teaching tips and how to teach some of these skills. So for the OSSLT, we have teaching tips for the multiple choice. The teacher can click onto that and then look at those supporting materials. Again, we have teaching reading and writing skills. So here's an example of writing for success tips for teachers. So as a school, perhaps you've had some of your students in your classes complete some of the online quizzes and you want to go in and you want to either grade together as a school team or you want to grade on your own. So the way to do this is, again, you're going to go into your quizzes. I know for sure that this last student did OSSLT practice test number 1. So I have a number of actions I can choose by just clicking this drop down arrow. So one of the options I have is to grade. So when I click on that button, I'll see that I've only had one student who has attempted. He's done 2 attempts. And it gives me an overall grade based on those few multiple choice questions that we went in and selected. If I want to look at his actual attempts, I can click on to attempt 1. It shows me what he got on his score, and I can also, there's also a spot there where I can give him some feedback. So I can go through, I can see all of his answers, also what the correct answers were. So I think this is a really good opportunity to do some one-on-one sessions with kids and give them feedback. Then we can see with the written answer the student didn't submit anything, but you do have the option of putting in a grade. You can look at his second attempt. Okay, and again, the teacher can give feedback on overall how that student did and maybe what are some of the things the student needs to do to improve. Another option that you'll see in there with the drop-down arrow are your reports and your statistics. So if you click on reports, oops, statistics. This shows you how many of the questions the student has tried and what the statistics. So this isn't going to mean a whole lot for us because we only have one student in here. But I think it is helpful if you're finding that students, if you have your whole class in here and you're finding that they're doing poorly on a particular type of question, it allows you to quickly target and remediate as needed. You can also see the question details in there as well too. Okay, so that's what the whole question looks like. So again, this is just one of many tools that can be used to help support students as they prepare for the OSSLT. Please don't hesitate to call me. I'm the consultant of Blended Learning and Instructional Technologies, and I'm happy to help you in your school at any time.